for adults, November is like Thanksgiving season and like almost Christmas or whatever. But for students, it's a very important time where they either take important tests or they submit college applications that they think are going to be very important in their lives. And I have a message for the students who are currently going through that phase right now. You may think that your college choices and whether you get into universities of your choice or not, it determines the course of your life. And if you basically mess up there, there's like no more options for you, and you basically screwed at the most crucial step, and everything's downhill for you, starting from that point. And I'm telling you that it's not. And the biggest reason why I'm making this video today is I want the youth and I want the young people, the new generation that's gonna come up to the college days, to be mentally healthy. And one of the biggest deterrents of being mentally healthy at that age is the topic of colleges. You may be comparing yourself. Oh, I got into this university and then I think of it as at a certain level, but you see other people who, get into your better schools or like worse schools, and then you make judgments about them, and then even worse, you make judgments about yourself because you got into this college at that level. Or, you may think that, oh, I only got into a certain college and then now my life is a failure and my parents are disappointed and I failed them and, I'm a failure of a life, I have no reason to live. Or you may think, oh, if only I had done better and at those times, if only I had studied more for that one test, oh, everything is so bad, and, you might be having a lot of regrets. You might also be like, and I want to preface this by saying I completely feel where you're coming from with those thoughts, because, I went to college too, and I grew up in a family environment where, going to a good college is really important, especially because my parents were like, I'm an immigrant, so my parents sacrificed a lot to, give me my education and such. So I completely understand where that feeling is coming from. But I just want to tell you that, and hopefully convince you, that it doesn't really have to be like that. Thinking about schools doesn't have to be this like really stressful experience. And reason number one is the experience of life is actually really varied. You think that, if you go to a college at a certain level, then your only possibilities are, these types of lives. But that's, very easily refutable by the truth, right? And it really depends on how you measure success. Sure, if you're from like a really, prestigious school, according to the US news, let's say you go into like an Ivy League school and then, you make a lot of money, but in your own definition, you make 6 figures or 7 figures or 8 figures or whatever. Those people can still have actually really miserable lives, right? And I'm sure you can find someone who is, going through a very miserable time right now, even when their college, is supposed to be perfect. I'm sure you can also find a lot of evidence around people who didn't get to college or didn't get to go to the school of their choice, but they still have really wonderful lives. Sure, you may not agree that, they're just trying to compensate for the lack of college degree or for the fact that they went to a crappy school. But isn't that what really life is? Your experience based on your beliefs? And what is really telling you that going to this good college isn't important? It's just a view, right? It's not a fact-based statement. Fact-based statement is like there is gravity on this earth. And, cell phones work using electricity and, radiomagnetic waves. Those are factual statements that are based on, actual facts. This school is better than this school. There's no, you can't argue that based on facts. It's a very opinion-based, thought-based kind of a statement. And so, this person is successful. But who makes that decision of, who makes the call of, what is success and not? It's someone who declares a statement, oh, this is the criteria for success. And I'm saying, as long as you keep on believing that, oh, I need to, make this kind of life with this kind of school because this is good. As long as you hold on to that thought, you're constantly going to be comparing yourself to that basis. And I am inviting you to the fact that definition of success and a happy life is all in your thoughts. And you can choose to be happy and you can choose to be successful today without having to change anything in your life. So in conclusion, the idea of you having to go to a certain school or you have to go to college to be successful, inviting you to think about the possibility that that is not a statement based on the truth. Second topic is for those people who actually do go into the college of their dreams or the school of their choice. It's a wonderful feeling, right? And you feel like everything's gonna be downhill from here, and everything's gonna be, your life is basically gonna be on easy mode because you're basically you've done it, right? You worked really hard and you attained this really great success. So now what? There will come a point in time where you ask yourself, now what? Because when you attribute your happiness and your value of success to an external factor, like something you cannot control completely on your own, like getting into a certain school, or like performing better than everybody else at this particular test. You can't control how other people will perform, right? You can control how you can perform. And you might be really well prepared and get 100% on all the tests, but so can other people too, right? So you can't technically be the best based on just your actions. Getting into a college is similar too, right? Like you can't control whether you're gonna get into a school or not. This is assuming a college follows conventional admission standards. So you've attributed you're really relying on happiness from this thing. Oh, if only I get into this one school, I'm gonna be so happy. Oh, if only, I really wish I really want to get into this school. I really want to get into this program. Yeah, but even if you get it, nothing really changes, right? Like aside from the fact that you got into that school, your life basically remains the same aside from the fact that you got into the school, and then like this really great feeling of accomplishment and happiness, it is going to fade away because it's just like another thing. It's just a thing that happened to your life. You had a wonderful meal one day, like perhaps the best meal of your life so far. Joy of eating this really wonderful meal, it doesn't last like to this day, right? You think like, oh yeah, that was a really good meal, but then you're not every day thinking about, oh my god, that meal was really great. Oh, that texture was really good and it was so perfectly well seasoned. You don't think about that all the time. Yeah, when you get into a college, you are going to think, oh my god, I'm so happy for like a day or two or maybe more weeks, but then that eventually fades away, and then now you're left thinking, what next? And then so what this can potentially lead to is then you're gonna think, oh man, if if only I had graduated with honors, and then if only I can get this job, and then you get the job and you're like, if only I got this promotion, and then you get that promotion, it's like, if only so that train of if only I'm saying it doesn't end. And when you're a high school student raised by a culture where that really emphasizes college education. College education is a really big deal to your life until now. But then once you reach that point, like that's all you've known. That's like the only goal you might have had. But then the effect of getting into it fades away. So I want to suggest it's the same conclusion as before. Define your happiness now. So like, what makes you happy? Does listening to music make you happy, or does making music make you happy? Then go out and do those things aside from your college things. Continue to do things every day that make you feel happy and make you feel successful. Those are the things that you can do right now without the need for any colleges, and even with colleges. The last point I want to make is something that ties everything together. So right now is a good time for you to think about, what do you want to do with your life? And so you may have some vague idea of what you want to do, after you graduate, or, with the degree, or what program you want to study and so on. But that might not be what you really want. It might be what your parents want. It might be what society wants out of young generations, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually want those things. So an exercise that I want to invite you to do is think, if you had unlimited money, and if you had unlimited time, and you had unlimited energy and stamina, and unlimited amount of people who are willing to help you reach your goal, when you're in this hypothetical space, what do you want to do? So, for example, you might want to play video games, but the video games you might want to only play when you have other things to do and you want to procrastinate. You might really like making films or videos, but you may think, oh, but I can't do that because it will cost money that I don't have. You might really like sports, like baseball or soccer or whatever, but then you may be thinking, yeah, but at the same time I have to study and I have to do all these things, so I'm not gonna have the energy to do those sports. You might want to be a business person and you want to be an entrepreneur, but you might be thinking, oh yeah, but I can't really do all of those things because, I don't have an accountant and that takes, time to learn, and I don't have, legal counsel and that takes time to learn. So those are the thoughts, that kind of like limiting mindset that I want you to take away in this hypothetical space. Just, if you had unlimited amount of money, unlimited time, unlimited energy, unlimited number of people who are willing to help you with their expertise, in this world, what would you want to do? That is a good indicator of what you want to be doing with your life. When you have the answer to that, you can start thinking of, okay, so for example, let's say you want to be a restaurateur. You want to, make your food and you want to sell it to people. Then you think about your goal and you think about your current status, and you take actions today, one step at a time, to reach your goal. It helps to guide your actions towards that goal you want in life. And then, of course, you're gonna hit blocks, and you're gonna hit, limiting situations like actual tuition and, actual time deficit, actual stamina deficit. And when that time comes, because you know what you want, instead of thinking, oh, yeah, this would be nice, but I can't because of this, you can start thinking of, okay, because I want this, but there is a limit right here, how am I going to overcome this to give myself the real big dream that I want? Your mind is capable of doing great things when it believes the right thoughts. When you think that something is limiting, that will limit you. But when you think, oh, how am I going to overcome this? You start thinking of ways to overcome problems instead of being limited by them. So that was the gist of what I wanted to talk about today. Think of happiness, define your success right now, and live that life today. And know what you want. Think about what you want, dream what you want, and consider problems to be temporary roadblocks that you're gonna find ways to go across. I hope that helps, and I'll see you in the next video.